So just those few minutes to have a taste of this porosity. And I started by this bodyman posture because actually that's the same posture we will keep when we go to the kitchen. The tenzo in the Japanese kanji, Chinese character, means the one who ordain the seat. And in some way, we also say it's the activator of the element. The tenzo, the cook in a community, is at the center of all the communities. He is the bridge from the external and the internal. And literally, because when we eat, it's really, we eat the world. So it's really at the crossing road. And when we say he ordained the seat, his responsibility is to nourish the practice, meaning to continue as when we do in sitting, to protect this capacity of porosity to all the ingredients of the world. So for him to do that, he has several entrants. And also, when we receive the food, we have also several doors to let the world become us, let lives be us, let the earth be us, let the ancestors living with us. The first door I could say is first the posture of the just sitting and then just cooking with what there is, so the practice of the situation. So that's why a tenzo never judge what he has. He does with what there is in front of him. And then more specifically, when he composed the menu for the community, he will try to bring to the plate what there is around. Meaning what there is around, of course, if it's the season, he will try to, basically he will try to mirror the outside and bringing into the plate. He will mirror also the emotional, he will balance in some way the emotional state of the community. So he will read, basically. That's why a tenzo has always to sit in order to be attuned to his own community, where he is, and in the community, and to help as much as he can through the food, this equilibrium of centeredness. And what is interesting in this specific practice is the center we always look, and which will really help us to unfold in this deep time of the present, what we call present also, is that it goes through mostly the articulation of savors, color, texture. So as you know, the Japanese lineage is coming from China. So at one point it was completely entangled with Taoist Chinese medicine, but the then didn't took directly the therapeutic part. It took the capacity to have the capacity that the variety can bring us to a center. So the specificity of the food is what I call the silent taste, which is kind of the neutral taste. So that's why, for example, actually it's true for all Buddhist cuisine, but more specifically in Zen, we protect the neutral, the savor of reality as it is. And in order to do that, we do it through two main possibilities. Is like we have all the variety of the savors. We pay attention that there is acidity, there is bitterness, there is savor, salt, and from the alternance of all those variety of savors comes the center, like the rainbow. You know, like when you have all the colors, you have a rainbow, something like that. And the other thing is like this silent taste, which is really directly connected to our center through the taste. Is also we don't use strong savor, like we don't use leeks, onions, garlic. There is also there's other reason, but mostly in Zen is really to protect this center, because there is a direct connection between excitement food and excitement of thoughts. And also, you know, like I remember when Ken Loach was coming back from America after he did his movie Bread and Roses. He was shocked by the level of sugar in American food, and he really also made this linked that it's not so obvious in our society, but really obvious in Chinese cosmogony, and definitely Zen. So that's it. And then around that, we do the same with the colors, to always pay attention, of course, with the main tonality of the season, but that there is green, there is red, of course, more red in summer because the berries, and more green in spring, etc. And also the texture, always being careful with there is a raw, there is cooked, there is something steamed, there is something. So of course, at every meal, we don't have all, but the Tenzo is just trying to pay attention to have as much as it can. And through this variety, the body find itself is equilibrium. And as it is always a body-mind posture, the mind will follow the centeredness that the posture in general of the sitting, but also in the food will bring. Well, roughly for the way to cook. And then from the other side, when people will eat, there is this fantastic practice that we call oryoki, which is the practice of the bowl, where the food is deployed in order for the people who will eat to also be nourished by the reality as it is, but displayed in a way that we see all the beauty. So in the first bowl, it's always a cereal, rice or whatever, and it's never seasoned. And there are two reasons for that. It's never seasoned because we said that it is the bowl of the awakened, meaning the bowl of ourself when we're fully alive. And so it's just the taste of our own life. It's a pure taste of our life as it is. So we don't season it. And the second reason is like as a Tenzo, it's really useful to not have a seasonal cereal, because then the next morning you can use it in the porridge or something like that. So there is two reasons. And then is very pragmatic, also very down to earth. And the second one is can be a soup or like a mixed. And the third one is raw food, salad or lacto fermented or no. And then it can go on when you have like a guest, but and this separation can totally be adapted to our way of eating, even in the plate. When we don't have bowl, we just pay attention of the space in between, because actually it's always through the emptiness that erase the reality, through the container that arise the reality of all our life. And now I don't want to talk too much. I just want to make the link with post-activism. Now we're talking a lot about post-activism, and I would say for this specific practice, I'm calling in the contemplative. It's one way of contemplative activism. Why is that? Because when we're in the posture, or when we cook, or when we eat, we just do that. We're not judging the Tenzo Donjo's ingredient that he will use when he cook. The people who receive the food don't judge the food that they're receiving. We just cook and we just eat. So we're not judging. And then when we cook or when we eat, we just bear witness to what it is. Just bearing with, just be present, just eating or cooking, basically. And from that posture, from that really unfoldment of being porosis, being like just becoming without thinking of us, really, just being in the action of living, natural arisement of intuition, of action is coming. And this intuition of action is not coming from ethic, it's not coming from moral, it's really coming from our deep becoming self, adjusted to the world, to life. I mean, and so that would be for me the activist part, that like we become, we raise through that an enthusiasm and a desire to act, which is coming from our deep self, connected self. And yes, that's what is we could say it's post-activism, one of certainly the many expressions of post-activism, particularly contemplative activism. And I will stop now. So, and please, I don't know how many times we have. Maybe somebody will take me. I think we not that much. Huh, I think. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe somebody will know. And so please, if you have question, how we please. And not only to me, and if everybody can, or like sharing what you want to say, please do so. Until 30 minutes past. Oh, we have 10 minutes more. Okay. Okay, so I could tell you a little bit more. There is, as I told you, there is different entrance, and that the also the generosity I found it. Yeah. Yes. I don't hear you.
I know. I'm just on mute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to ask a question. So I'm not coming from any Zen Buddhist practice or anything. And I'm just wondering, thank you for all that information. Like I was wondering how that would fit into maybe harsher reality, or where there's less access of good, well-grown food, which sometimes I have trouble accessing. There are huge supermarkets around me. So if we were to kind of represent the reality of where we lived, would that still work? And how would you adapt this practice to that? Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's really funny, and really, you know, we are in the magic of responding us magically. It's strange, because what I was going to share is the 5 contemplation, and that answers to your question. There are several doors, and well, first in the practice is not first becoming belonging to Japanese or to Japan or to China. You know, it's like, it's just an articulation of what is to be alive, I would say. And so there is really no problem, and it doesn't belong to the monastic, it doesn't belong to the secular. It's like, well, and it is first of all, the practice of the situation. So your question is really accurate because, yeah, I mean, we don't have all organic for several reasons, geographics or economics or whatever. And so we do with what we have. And we have also a door when we have cooked what we have. It's the 5 contemplation, and I will tell you the 5 contemplation, and you will understand. The first contemplation is to contemplate, acknowledge all the energy and the effort that was necessary for this food to come to us. In this first contemplation, for example, you can totally, I don't know, you know, like you have, allez, I will say the worst example. You have a McDonald's hamburger because you're almost dying and there is only that. Well, even that, you are able, through this first contemplation, to acknowledge the pain, I imagine, but also maybe the joy, I don't know, at one point in the chain. I mean, it's just, you just receive all the full ingredient of this food. And I would say that it's mostly that which will nourish you, and not the fact that it's organic, and not the fact that, even though, okay, we prefer that. So the second contemplation is to put the lamp toward us and to question ourselves how in our practice, meaning how in our way of life, do we honor this food, whatever food it is, since there were, for any food, even a McDonald's hamburger, especially for a McDonald's hamburger, a lot of energy taken, and a lot of ancestors, and a lot of beings, and a lot of lives. So how do we receive that? Where is our dignity in receiving this food? And the third contemplation is to realize then that through this food, through this abundance, when I say abundance, is not a quantity of food, but the abundance of a set and of the lineage, you know, including the one who did the cup, the people who did the cup, the mother and the fathers of the one who did the cup, etc. The truck driver, the family of the truck driver to bring it to the shop. From all those lineage, when we realize that, when we really embodied all those lives, we can't fall into avidity, greed, being afraid of having not enough, or being afraid that this will be taken from us. So this food helps us to prevent us to fall into those thresholds. And the fourth contemplation is to see how this food nourish our body. But then we can consider, question, what is the body? You know, nourish the body which is not fixed, this unfolding body, and the body which is interwoven with all bodies. So the food is nourishing it, and nourishing it meaning we eat and then we nourish also the body, our body, but it's like always the circulation of life. And the fifth one is literally in the monastic cosmogony, is like how this food is putting us in the realization, the teaching of the Buddha, but to make it direct and without the exotic. It's like how, from all those 4 contemplation, to realize how much this food awaken us to life, how this food, yes, make us fully alive, but not really by the consciousness, like really, even if it goes by contemplate, but because there is not only the contemplation before we have cooked, before we have just taste the 6 savors, the 5 colors, etc. It's a mix of awareness of looking, and already the embodiment through just eating and just cooking. So I hope that has, and that's why I love to share this practice, because even though it's coming from ancient times, this is so accurate. And you don't need to be Japanese, you don't need to be a monk, you don't need to be a Buddhist. We just have to remember what is food. That's all. They just offer that. Voilà.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, this has been so lovely. Thank you. To clarify, did you say that you eat off of plates? So the food lays a certain way, or did I hear that wrong? Like, so you can observe the emptiness throughout the space. Can you say more or clarify that?
About when I said like when we do in a plate.
Yeah, like you don't eat in a bowl, or you prefer a plate so you can
Voilà,
see the space.
you
Yeah.
can yeah, exactly. I got it. You can totally because most of the time we eat in plates, so you can totally experiment the deployment of beauty in your plate, and it will go from the fact that you separate, let's say, the cereal, the if you have two or just one main mix vegetable, etc., and your raw food. The fact that you don't put it together helps you to see. That simple, just to see, like everything is in front of us, so it's just a way to help us seeing what's already there, and to do that, to help us seeing, to to give form, I would say, to have a 3D experiment of our food, like as to see it. The space in between is very interesting, and I would say it comes back to the it through the emptiness in between the food, either between the bowls or in our plate, actually, that the things defined by themselves. It's really simple. It's really logical in some way. If you mix the salad and everything, and like everything is mixed, you see less the colors, and you see less, the forms of so you see less of the beauty. We forget that with food we have a general measurement of a quantity, but we forget that we are fully nourished by beauty. And when we leave the space in order to see what is there in our plate, wow, we see that we're eating love. Actually, we see that we're eating the earth, that literally, like, it's just the beauty of earth that is given to us. So that's the main reason of and I would say, like, also in the Japanese culture, there is the matcha ceremony, the tea ceremony. That's about the same logic, like, where the container, in matcha you put a little bit of matcha tea, of tea powder, usually in big bowl, and we say that it's the emptiness which creates the container, and which allow us to receive the tea. If we would have a full cup of matcha, I mean, we wouldn't have the same experience. So the balance between emptiness and what is in the food, or I would say in our apartment, in our is really powerful. We forget how emptiness make things, like arise a thing. And including in us when we're sitting, like we're giving space. Basically, it's giving space to life in order for it to see it.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Thank you.
A very quick question. The 5 contemplations, if you eat with someone, if you're sharing a meal, do you speak about it? Do you share your thoughts on the 5 contemplations?
You mean me personally?
Yeah.
Well, depends of, it's really the practice of the situation. When I you know, you can never share something which is not already there in the person. So I don't do it systematically when I see that people are not specifically interesting, or but when I feel like I am with a friend now, and yesterday we prepare something, and I know that this friend is really, we really connected with the food, and so I I proposed her to share it, and yeah, so it depends, but when I feel that people are there's a lot of people who are not interesting or don't realize how deep is the food actually, or, and it's not a judgment, it's just like they have other things to they realize other thing, but I feel that there is a big craving for helping us to see the depth of food. So when I feel that, of course I feel that this practice has been as articulated, it's so sophisticated, you know, at the same time very simple and so fine that of course I share it, yeah. And they're nice, and also I like it because with the first contemplation, as it was asked in when, even when we don't have the food we want, and you know, there is a lot of dogma in the food, I think, like the good way to eat, the detox, and the all the things which food of principles, which are interesting for some reason, but also sometimes it could also lead to a lot of guilt when we don't have the right food or we don't eat the right thing. And those contemplation, I feel, are very generous to also acknowledge the pain in our food, or I mean, even the pain that we have to receive our food with no judgment. So it's and also regarding, of course, in it, it's a Buddhist, it's vegan, and but it's not, even the veganism is not a dogma. It's not something which comes from ethic, from moral, that it's not that because it's good to be vegan that it's vegan. It's like naturally, eventually, the more you will have connection with food, eventually you will pay attention where it's coming from, and you and maybe not, and you know, like there is no judgment. However, when we are in retreat, to concentrate fully and in the principle of benevolence, of there is no animal product, and of course that's.
Thank you.
Somebody has to tell me when we finish. I think it's what do you think? Somebody knows? Because it's,
Yeah, I think we have to move to the next.
it's okay, cool. Well, thank you so much. I hope you will what I will do, I don't know if it will possible, we'll see, because I can I prepare a little text which summarize, and I could add the 5 contemplation. So in case I can't put it in a group, don't hesitate to contact me through my email, and I will send you the very simple resume of what we said, and I will put the contemplation.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Merci. Bye bye.